Hello everyone, Frank DeMora here with the Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. And just briefly, if you are at my YouTube channel and you visit my website, BibleProphecyMan.com, please just let it be known that I am making the videos, and I'll transport the videos over to my website so that when you get there, you'll be able to go and click to the links that I'm giving to you so that you could read the news in its entirety. And it usually takes a little bit to make the videos and transfer them over, but you'll see it in the next at least a half an hour. So let me get right into the prophecies that I want to cover for today, because we're seeing events that are leading to roads that will fulfill prophecies that haven't been fulfilled yet. For example, in Daniel chapter 2, verses 41 through 43, we're seeing the last kingdom that will be in power at the time that Jesus Christ comes back. Now, when you read this chapter, and also chapter 7, you'll know that the last world empire that will be in power as a world empire will be that of the revived Roman Empire. Now, when you read my book, you'll be able to understand who this is. If you don't know anything about Bible prophecy, you'll get a good look at the western leg of the old Roman Empire, which is already risen and is standing through the European Union. These are the same nations that used to be in the old Roman Empire. They have returned to become a union. And now, according to what Daniel told us, this is what I wanted to cover. Because in Daniel chapter 2, verses 41 through 43, we're told that they will not cleave together. Let's see, it says, "And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of pottery's clay and part iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with very clay. And as the toes of the feet were part iron and part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken." And this is exactly what we're seeing right now in the European Union. And please keep this in the back of your mind. They're identical nations that used to be in the old Roman Empire. Then it goes on to say, "And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with very clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay." So, within the European Union right now, we're seeing a downgrade of the economy, and it's taking a toll. And there's rumors, speculation that the Euro nations that are using the same coins through, I believe there's 17 nations within the European Union, are using what they call the euro. They think that the euro may break down, and this will cause a breakup of the euro and breakup of the European Union itself, maybe into a smaller entity. We're watching this like a hawk, I guarantee it. But so far, we're seeing exactly what Daniel warned about. They are not cleaving together. And there's many other problems that are going on within the European Union that are also fulfilling prophecy. For example, Matthew 24:7, "For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom." In this case, we see what's going on in Greece, because Greece is falling apart under the austerity measures that the European Union is trying to formulate right now. And there's been many riots, civil unrest that are going on in Greece. They were going on last year. They've come back again. And again, this is also part of the birth pangs that Jesus warned about in Mark chapter 13, verse 8. So let's take a look at what this article says. If you want, we can go right over when you're at my site. Like I said, you'll be able to click right on to the article because I'll have the link there for you. And so when you see it says Greece, there's no more left to cut. Thousands of Greeks protest over the asphyxiating pressure from the foreign creditors. It says, "That's enough. We can't take it anymore. That was the popular chant coming from the protesters in Athens yesterday during the latest 24-hour general strike against the country's austerity measures. Teachers and doctors joined bank employees to demonstrate against the new round of expected cuts as the cash-strapped country continued to negotiate new reductions in spending to help keep the economy afloat. It says several thousand protesters from the public and the private sector unions braved the heavy rainfall, gathering outside the Parliament voice their opinion at the latest proposed cuts to a secure $130 billion of this Euro bailout package. It says minor clashes broke out with the protesters trying to remove the carbon near the Parliament building. Police sprayed tear gas, and as you see later on in this article right here, that those angered intensified overnight when a further 15,000 jobs cuts were announced. So it doesn't look good for Greece, and of course Greece was one of the nations in the old Roman Empire, and they are in a mess right now. And we do know that if Greece does fall, it's going to take some of the other nations down with it, and we may definitely see Daniel chapter 2 verses 41 through 43 fulfilled. So that's something that we're watching very closely. Now, as I wait for a second to get back to my website, just want to now go into another prophecy. This prophecy hasn't been fulfilled, but again, just like this prophecy where we can actually see what's going on and how the prophecy that Daniel talked about is coming to pass, so we see Psalm 83, the road to Psalm 83, and also the Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39 war. We see that coming, and I've been talking about that almost on a daily basis as well. So also, let's keep in mind what the Lord said about the kingdom against kingdom, and obviously He told us, for nation shall rise against nation, meaning there's going to be war. And we know some of the names of the wars because we see it in Psalm 83 and Ezekiel chapter 38, two of which haven't been fulfilled yet. So, one of the nations in, for example, the Ezekiel war that will come along, please keep in mind, with Russia, who will lead this attack against Israel. We know that this hasn't been fulfilled, but as I said, the road to this war is being developed. And so let me take you into an article here, because this is pretty interesting. And if you know what to look for, and you start reading, these articles, you really makes the back of the hair stand up. It says the report: Iran deploys 15,000 troops to help Syria's Assad. And of course, this news generally just tells us, not very long, but you can see it point blank, that Iran is sending over 15,000 armed troops to Syria to help Bashar al-Assad. Now, he's doing this because the Ahmadinejad regime, the Iranian regime, wants to keep Assad in the power. Now, please note, in the Psalm 83 war, we have Syria. All right. Now, just think about this for a minute. We have what we see is the Syrians getting help from Iran. All right. So, what if, let's just hypothetically, what if, because you're going to see the other news here, Israel goes in and they launch an attack against Iran to wipe out the nuclear power plants that are being facilitated right now to try to get the bomb to use against Israel. So Israel goes in, and I mentioned this before, and blows up these facilities. Well, we have, in this case, you would have at least 15,000 troops, of Iranian troops, in Syria. Now, this would definitely tick off Iran, and it would definitely tick off the Iranian backers, of all of which you see that are listed here. And I outline all of these things the evidence and the documentation showing that these people have aligned themselves up with Iran. And so it doesn't surprise me at all to see 15,000 troops in Syria, because if Israel did hit Iran and you had 15,000 troops of the Iranian troops there, we also know that from Isaiah 17:1 and also Jeremiah chapter 49 verses 24 through 27, of which I did not put up here, that Syria is going to be completely destroyed. So take this, for example, possible scenario. Israel comes in, they bomb Iran. You have troops in Syria from Iran. The rest of these nations say, look what Israel did. They gather themselves together and try to take out Israel, which would fulfill the Psalm 83 war. Israel wins this war, which ticks Ayatollah Khamenei, the spiritual leader of Iran, off, and Ahmadinejad, the president of Iran, to the point where at the later date, Iran joins with Russia to lead another attack against Israel to try to wipe her out once and for all, because as you see from this war, when you read Psalm 83, you'll read that they come down to counsel themselves, saying that they're going to wipe Israel out, so that their name isn't even in existence anymore. So there's a lot to look at, there's a lot to digest, but when you know the end result, all we're looking for is the news showing us how we're going to get there. And we don't know exactly, at least I don't know exactly the scenario, but this is definitely a possible scenario that I'm keeping watch on. So now as I said, when you're talking about wars and rumors of wars, it becomes really interesting, at least for me, because you have Russia, who is also mentioned in the Ezekiel war, who actually leads the attack. So if you have Iran, who is the major ally of Russia right now, and also if you have Syria, which is a major ally of Russia, of which I'm going to show you right now. Let me just click that. And Israel wipes out Syria. Then you have the Russians. You tick the Russians off, and you tick the Iranians off, and they're the exact people that are listed in the Ezekiel war. And then you have the makings, or at least the possible makings, of why Russia and Iran help Turkey and some of these other nations that are listed in that Psalm or the Ezekiel war to come against Israel. Now look at this. Iran to deploy 15,000 troops to help Syria's Assad. This is more news about what I just told you about. And as you can see here, it says the Parliament Syrian lawmaker says that the commander of Iranian Revolutionary Guard's elite Quad forces have recently arrived in the country to help manage Assad's regime brutal suppression of the 11-month-long popular unrest. Keep in mind, Matthew 24:7 talks about civil unrest, nation or kingdom against kingdom, and this is exactly what's going on at the present time in Syria, just like it did in Egypt and Libya and some of these other Arab Spring uprisings. It says, according to the Syrian official Qassam Soleimani, it's not Salami, commander of the Quad forces, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Special Forces Unit has arrived in Syria recently to take up a spot in the war room which manages army maneuvers against opposition forces. So keep looking for some trouble, but I want you to take a look at this, because it says the Soleimani's presence in Syria serves as an indication of the kind of battle that Assad is planning against the opposition forces, with the Syrian army reportedly planning to wage all-out war against the rebel city of Homs. So you're talking about nation against nation or kingdom against kingdom. We see more examples of this right here. And according to the report, the president's goal is to gain ground ahead of a planned visit by the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, who will be arriving in the country along with the military delegation, which includes the head of the Russian intelligence. So let me just ask you a question. Are you seeing anything that the Holy Spirit is trying to show you here? Here you have Russia, who has a presence. And let me go back. You have Russia, who has a presence in the same exact area as we see in the Ezekiel chapter 38 war. We have Russia intelligence in Syria. We have Syria in the Psalm 83 war. So it looks like everything is tied in together. The same people who are prophesied to unite together have done so, and now the only thing that we're waiting for is the actual event to kick off, to ignite the Psalm 83 war, and then later the Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39 war. So we're very, very close, because I know this because the tensions are growing much, much stronger. Now there's an article that just came out. It says preparing for Iran strike. Now I'm going to go over here. You can do this for yourself if you want, but I thought I had this. Excuse me, let me go up here for a second. I'll show you how this works. You can do it for yourself. And if I ever forget a link, all you have to do is take part of the news article, go to the Google, put that in there, paste it, hit the search, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Israel preparing for Iran strike. So as long as this is coming up here, it says the Israel embassies preparing for Iran strike. Now again, you have Iran in the news talking about Israel and possible war. In Matthew 24:7, Jesus said you'll hear wars, rumors of wars. There's another case of that being fulfilled, and it just so happens it's the very nation that God warns us about in Ezekiel chapter 38. It says the foreign embassies in Israel have recently started to formulate contingency plans to evacuate their citizens from the Jewish state in case of a missile attack on Israel. Senior officials in Jerusalem said that several diplomatic missions have shown great interest in preparing for various emergency situations. Now, why are they doing this? Because, as I said, there is that great possibility that Israel will try to take out Iran's nuclear strike, and this is what this is all about. And so there is that there is the chance that Israel will do this. They'll have to defend themselves, because the current Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu knows what Iran is up to, and he wants to alleviate that problem before they actually get the bomb to try to use it against Israel. So if they do hit them, Iran, they're expecting a possible strike. Now, there's also been talk that Iran may strike Israel first. So there's a lot of war talk, a lot of chatter going on, but we do know this for sure. Iran will be going to war against Israel. And if you don't believe it, just stay tuned, watch the news, because you are going to see the very words written in the Bible about the Ezekiel 38-39 war and the Psalm war come into fruition. And I believe that that's exactly what's going to happen, and it's going to happen fairly soon. So, now let me go down into another prophecy. Let's see how much time I have here. Got a little